Alright guys, Chef Dice in the house.
Start again.
Okay.
I'm scratching my nose.
I didn't see that. Alright guys, Chef Dice in the house. You guys see who is the iconic, the man, the myth, the legend, Howard Rock and Roller Newman.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey Howard, how you doing? Thank you for the
Chef
invite.
Dice.
Yeah, thank you. Chef Dice. Oh, great name.
Yeah.
Not as good as the hard rock and roller.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm here in Las Vegas, and I missed you last year at Hawaii Crap Shooters. Crew came in here, and you fixed them up to be a better shooter. From when I saw them, they really improved. But at the Craps Pit here at Las Vegas, I'm here to bring my level to this high with this expert of shooting craps. But before we're going to start that, Howard, everybody wants to know how this all happened.
Well, let's see. It happened way back around in the late 90s. I would go on these gambling boats out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And on the boats, you know, we'd just take a few $100 and fling the dice like everybody else. And then one day I see a guy, and he has these notes with numbers on them. And I say, you know what? He's doing something different than anybody else at the craps table. He's setting the dice with numbers. And he has the best roll on the whole table. So then I was on a quest. I got to find how in the world did he learn about dice setting? Where did he get this stuff? And I looked all over the place. There were no books on dice setting. Finally, I was doing massage therapy at a clinic, a medical clinic. It was medical massage. And one of my patients comes in. He was a poker player. He comes with a book by Jerry Patterson. And the book is called Casino Gambling by Jerry Patterson. And in the book, it was all about blackjack and roulette and all these games. But in the book, there's a little chapter by a guy named Sharpshooter about dice setting. So I look at that chapter and say, wow, that's what I want to learn. And in the back of the book, there's a correspondence course. And it's like, I'm thinking, I don't know about this correspondence course. But if you want to learn to shoot like Sharpshooter, you can take this course for like, it's like $5.99. And it comes with a receiving station, it comes with a VHS tape, it comes with a casino dice, and you practice throwing into this little box, you know? And the box was pretty big. It was probably about, I don't know, maybe like 2 feet square, 2 or 3 feet square. So I ordered it, but I didn't tell my wife. You know? Yeah. So I didn't tell my wife, and then what happened was the box came, and I practiced on my bed. You know, I use a TV stand to put the dice on. I throw it into the box where my pillow was. But I was actually shooting from the end of the table, which I didn't know. Right. I was just doing the throw from the end of the bed into the box. And then I found out that they were giving an actual class, you know. And in the class, I could meet Sharpshooter, and I could meet Jerry Patterson. You know, they're like my heroes now. Mm-hmm. And I take the class, and there's Dominator there, and my friend, well, they became my friends. Yep. Dominator, Jerry Stick, Bobby, Mr. Finesse, Bobby Convertito, all these guys, and Chris Paulecki, who's Sharpshooter. So I meet these guys, and they look at my throw, and I'm doing really good, you know, from the end. And then Sharpshooter said, well, you're left-handed. Let's show you how to shoot from stick right, because I'm left-handed. And he showed me how to do it, and I picked it up real fast. I was pitching softball 3 times a week, and I had a real good hand-eye coordination for that. And I'm an artist and everything. So anyway, I got very good at it very quickly, and pretty soon, I guess I should tell the story first.
Yeah.
What happened was, I wanted to find out where the pros are playing. So I found out they're going to play at one of these casinos, and it was Atlantic City, Bally's. So I went down there before the guys came, and I said, you know what, I'm going to warm up before they come. Like a half hour before they come. So I start warming up, we got the table, but I get on a hot roll. So now when the guys come, it's like, wow, Howard's on a hot roll, they'll join in. And I'm making everybody money and money. And then the next thing you know, I see Jerry Patterson and Sharpshooter on another table. So after I 7'd out, I said, I'm going to play with those guys now. So I went over to that table. I said to Jerry Patterson, do you mind if I shoot with you guys? And Jerry says, well, I'm just letting the Sharpshooter toss, and I'll just bet on him. And I said, well, do you mind if I shoot too? He said, okay. So Sharpshooter has a big roll like normal. He's one of the greatest. He's the one that taught all of us. And then I get the dice, and I have a big roll, you know? So now all the pros see that I'm good. I'm only maybe as good as they are. I don't know.
It's impressive.
Right? And then next thing you know, Jerry Patterson says, hey, Howard, would you like to be an instructor, actually a coach, with Sharpshooter in our classes?
Oh.
You know, you'd be with Dominator, he was a coach then, you know, and Jerry Stick and Mr. Finesse and Billy the Kid and Darryl Nofield 5 and Armand, all these guys that became my friends. So I said, yeah, I'd like to do that. And the next class, Frank Scobletti showed up, was in Las Vegas. He took the class, and we became friends, you know. And he says to me, hey, Howard, would you like to play a session with me? I said, yeah, that'd be great, because Frank was kind of one of my heroes then, because I was reading all his books. He had all these books called Beat the Craps Out of the Casino, and all these books about the captain and the 5 count. So I looked up to Frank. He was like a celebrity, you know, published author. So Frank and I became friends, and we played together. And I still doing Golden Touch, not Golden Touch. We're still doing par, you know, which is Patterson Advanced Rhythm Rollers. That's what the Jerry Patterson organization was called, par. That's why I still call it the par toss, because that's what it was. You know, that's how we learned it. And that was in the year like 2000, 2001. And then Frank, one day, I call him on the phone, or he calls me, and he says, hey, Howard, we're not going to be able to play much anymore because Dominator and I were forming another group. I said, what? You know, we're having so much fun with par, with Patterson and Chris Policki. Why start another group? He says, well, it's going to be a real business. It's going to be a corporation. We're going to get paid. And with Jerry, even though Jerry Patterson was really nice to me, he would give me gifts and buy me lunch, but we were volunteers. But we all liked it because we felt important. We were like one of the few people in the country that could do this toss that Sharpshooter was teaching. Nobody else is doing this kind of toss. And that's this toss that everybody knows now. So we call it the par toss from back then. And so Frank says, would you like to come in with us? We're all chipping in, and we're starting a new group, and it's going to be called Golden Touch. So it's like, okay, I kind of feel bad for Jerry, though. Why are we competing with Jerry Patterson? He's been real nice to us. I'm not that kind of person, you know. But, you know, Frank, and then the Dominator calls, Howard, you know, everybody likes you in the class, all the students like you. You know, why don't you come in with us? And I said, you know, I took my wife, and we, you know, I took like $10,000. And I did it. And they said that Sharpshooter's going to join us, and Jerry's going to be doing like the correspondence part, and we'll be doing the classes. So as long as they weren't left out, I was okay with that. And that's how Golden Touch started. And I became friends with Frank and Dominator. You know, I slept over at Dom's house. And I remember one time, and him and Laura were wonderful hosts. And Frank was a really good friend of mine. We'd go on trips together, vacations together. And we had a great time. It was a great, great thing. And that's how I got started.
Right on. Very interesting, because all the names that you dropped was when I first started about two years ago now. They're all in the History Channel.
Yes.
Remember the documentary?
Yeah, the Dice Dominator. Very good TV.
That's what got me into throwing craps, and because this was interesting, very interesting how the group started, and these guys are professionals in what they do.
Right.
Cool.
Yes.
All right, Howard. So we're here at Howard's Craps Pit. He has basically 2 hours, 4 hours, 8-hour classes. And then this particular video that we're going to show you all is more towards the 4 hours, and a lot of his famous tosses that you guys always hear about, but you'll actually see it thrown. And then at least you can relate to what's being said and what's being thrown. Right, Hard? Hard, you want to explain to me your, let's start off with your 2-hour tune-up.
All right, tune-up class, they're usually for people, well, there's two types of people like to take my 2-hour class. Some are on a budget, so it's more affordable, the 2-hour class. That's one type of person, even beginners. You know, they really don't need a tune-up, they want to learn. The other people are people that have taken maybe the GTC class, or have taken a class with me before, or with one of my friends, you know. I have a friend named Dice Coach, who's a really good friend of mine here, and maybe they've taken those classes, but they just need a little tune-up, or maybe they just want to learn another toss, you know. So because everybody's teaching the same toss, which is the par toss, which is the one that we did, you know, 22 years ago. But I've developed other tosses that work very, very well. And sometimes it's good to have another toss. That if this toss isn't working, you're dead at the table. You're going to lose. But if one toss isn't working, why not try another toss? Maybe that would work. So that's what I teach. So 2-hour class is 2 hours. It's all hands-on. No boring lectures. It's like the student comes in. I want to know what they know, where they're at with their technique, and I'll make the corrections, and we'll go from there. If they're beginners, I'll teach them the par toss, because everybody wants to learn that. But I have other techniques that are very good for beginners, that are easier. The par toss is actually the hardest toss to learn, because it takes so much practice, you know. So I have other tosses where people come in and they want to learn, but they want to go right to the casino and play. Well, that par toss takes a while to learn and get good at it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes months
to
practice. Well, if someone takes a class and they don't even have a throwing station, they're not going to do very well right off the bat, you know. So I have other tosses that are easy to learn, and I'll teach the beginners that toss as well. Now the 4-hour class, that's also for people who want tune-ups, for me to correct their toss. But now I have time to work with them to teach them how to shoot the same toss, the par toss, from other positions. So most people, if they're right-handed, they learn how to throw from stick left. But what if their stick left position's busy? I mean, people are there, then they can't shoot. So they sit and they wait. Well, why not learn how to shoot from a second position? I could teach them how to shoot from stick left as well. And my stick left shot is just as good as my stick right shot. So I teach them how to shoot from stick left, and then also maybe even from straight out if they want to learn how to shoot from straight out. Because that position is usually open.
Always.
Straight out.
Yeah.
It's a longer throw, but you can keep it on axis with practice. You can still do it. So with 4 hours, we have plenty of time to practice and perfect it. Now, it also gives us time for me to teach some other tosses, like the corner toss, the Yuri toss, the ice tongue toss, or the ice tongue magic toss. I have all different tosses that beat the casinos, and I can help students learn those tosses. So 4 hours is good. Now 8 hours is a long day. We usually go 9 to 12. We take a lunch break, then we come back and we go all the way till 5 o'clock. Some people like to do it all in one day. Some people say, you know, it's too tiring, because when I do my classes, there's no boring lectures. I have people throwing the dice over and over to perfect each technique. Sometimes, so they don't get tired, I'll throw the dice with them. You know, they'll volley back and forth, like they'll take stick left, I'll take stick right, and then they get a visual of how I'm doing it, how soft I throw it, how I keep the dice together on axis, and that sinks into their mind. So they try to emulate it, and eventually they do. So that's we do that in the 8-hour class. We have plenty of time to learn all the tosses, not all the tosses, but as many as we can, without overwhelming somebody. And what I'll do is, I'll tell the person, if you want, you know, ahead of time, we could divide the class into 2 days. A 4-hour class, you know, let's say a 9 to 1 one morning, and then a 9 to 1 the next morning. And that's probably the most beneficial, because then the people really retain what I taught them, and the next day when they come, we'll go over what they learned, and I make sure they don't form any bad habits. I get feedback from them and see how they did in the casino, and then we'll correct any mistakes they made in practice, what I taught them, and then we'll move on to additional tosses, so they're not overwhelmed.
One thing great about Howard, once you take his class, he's like one of those great instructors where you forgot something and you text him, he won't ignore you. Right. He'll like text you back, email you some other thing, whatever the case may be, and that's great. You know, you put a lot of hard-earned money into this wonderful class, but you'll get a lifetime with Howard. So
that's right. I'm always available if you want to call me, we have a problem, or you want to text me or email me. I'll always answer you. I'll always pick up the phone, and I'll help you any way I can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Question from me, like us guys, we're from Hawaii, right?
Yes.
Like I come like every other month, but for us Hawaiians out there or other people around the country preparing ourselves to come for the big show, when do you start practicing, really practice to be ready for the casinos?
You know something? I actually feel the same way.
Yeah.
No matter how good I am, I still feel I need to practice and get better. It's just it's in your mind. It's like a baseball player that's a great hitter, you know, like name anybody, like Mickey Mantle, let's say. You know, when the big game is coming, he'll be in batting practice and he'll be working on his swing from stick left and stick right. He's a switch hitter, and I'm the same way. When I'm coming to Las Vegas, I will practice a lot at my house in Florida before I get here to make sure I'm all tuned up and ready to go. So it's like I'm going to the big game. I'm ready. So I do practice. I would say for me, about 3 weeks out, I really get serious.
Okay. Okay. A couple hours a day too.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. And I'm sure everybody out there wants to know, how many classes do you do a month? Because you're blowing up your Facebook page. So all this information is going to be on Howard's website, and of course I have it in the description. But Howard, how many classes? You're like all over. You're at Hawaii Crap Shooters thing. It's almost what, 20,000.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, the video that we did with Hawaii Crap Shooters. You know, it's me and Brian, Money Shot. Yeah, it's almost 20,000 views within 7 months, which is phenomenal. You know, I'm thrilled. I'm like overwhelmed, like, wow, this is great.
Right.
You know, it's like overwhelming. You know?
Exactly. So we'll do this one, and then we'll do one every other 6 months. So we'll get everybody updated, because you know what? Howard's a great friend of ours, and he fixed us up like a tune-up.
Right.
Engine tune-up, right?
But you know what I want to tell you about?
Yeah.
I want to tell you about how I learned the alternate tosses, because they didn't just come to me out of thin air. So the way it happened was, so I was with Golden Touch, and it's a great organization. I'm still friends with Dominator and all the fellas. They're all it's like fraternity brothers to me. We all started together, you know, with PAR and then with GTC. So I love those guys. But what happened was, when I left the group to go on my own, at the end of 2008, I went back to Jerry Patterson's organization, and by then they were teaching other tosses. They were calling them off-axis tosses, and that opened my eyes that there's more than one way to throw the dice, to have a controlled toss. And that's where I learned some of these other tosses, and then because I'm an artist, I have good imagination, I kind of fused some of those tosses into my own. And like, for example, the toss they were doing, Jerry Patterson School, the first off-axis toss, is called Dice Magic. And this guy, Walt Diem, was the instructor. Sharpshooter had retired. And Walter Im was an ex-Navy pilot, a very smart guy. He came out with this dice magic toss. And it worked great. But it's a controlled shot. It's not just, just random. It's a controlled shot. There's a technique to it. Well, I had some students that had trouble learning that toss. I still teach these old tosses. I had students that had a little trouble learning that, because with this toss, when you throw it, you open your hand up, and the dice fly out of your hand on a 45-degree angle, like a knuckleball, no spinning. But they're so used to doing the par toss, the dice would spin, which isn't the way the shot works. So I came across, in my mind, I thought, okay, I'm very good with an ice tong toss. So I fused two different shots together, magic and ice tong. And I figured out a way to throw it with the correct angle using an ice tong toss. And it works great. So I could do it from straight out, and being left-handed, I do it from stick right. And so that's how I got my ice tong magic toss, which I use a lot these days. So anyway, that's where I learned, and the Yuri toss. The Yuri toss didn't just come to me in a dream. There was a book in the late 1990s, which I didn't know about. It was called a guy named Yuri, I think his last name is Konekinko, and he must have been an engineer, because in the book it has these mathematical formulas for trajectory and all this kind of stuff, which I didn't understand all that stuff, but what I get out of it is to throw the dice low on axis. And I practiced that shot a lot, but what really turned me on to that toss was I was in Tunica, and I just finished a Golden Touch class, and it was great, And then I went to the casino, and I saw this trio, a guy and his wife, and another guy named Dennis. It was Dennis and Jim and his wife, and they throw the dice, and they throw it low, and they're having great rolls with this toss. But in my mind, it's like, gee, that's not the Golden Touch toss, the toss that sharpshooter taught us. So it's like I didn't understand it, because we thought there was only one way to throw the dice in a controlled way. So I saw this guy having these great rolls. So my friend Rex, who lives in Chattanooga, knew these guys, because they're from that area. One guy lived in Tunica, one guy lived in Chattanooga. So he said, would you like to meet them? I said, yeah. So as they're waiting online to cash in their chips, I went over to them. I said, I'm with Golden Touch. What are you guys doing? I never saw a shot before. They said, it's the Yuri shot from the Yuri book. Oh, I'd never heard of that before. So I said, can you show me how to do that? And we went to the casino, and they showed me how to set it. We used a 3V set. And 3-finger grip, deep grip, and it's a terrific shot. My first time trying, I had 0.7. It's like, yeah. But then we worked on it, and I got so hot with this toss, I never went to bed. I stayed up all night long. I was the only one at the table. The only one. And by the morning, I had to catch a plane, and I had so much money, and I was also tipping the dealers. So they were happy with me. I had no heat. It was great. I'm hitting the back wall every time. It was a great shot. And I remember the pit boss, supervisor, came down and said, we watched you. You rolled thousands of times. You didn't run on the table all night long. So I rolled, they give me the dice right back. I rolled. So they gave me a diamond card. That was my first diamond card with Caesars.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did it all in one night. I rolled so many rolls, And that really turned me on to that toss. But then when I was with my buddies, with the group, it would Golden Touch, because it wasn't a Golden Touch toss, I couldn't use this toss.
Oh.
I wasn't allowed to use it in front of them, because a lot of peer pressure. It's not the toss we're teaching. So I had to kind of sneak away and play with these guys on the side, And then I stopped using it, because I only used it when I would go to Tunica with them. And then one day, I had forgotten how to use it, but I was one of the best with the on-axis par toss. That was my toss. I was one of the best. My longest roll was in '86, and I had 5 days where I had hour-long rolls every day, in front of all the students.
Wow.
So I was in the world record, the DTC World Record book, But when I left the group, they erased it all. They erased my records. Kind of like I didn't exist anymore. I think maybe because they thought I'd take the students with me because I was real popular.
Yeah.
But I'm not that type of person. But the joke was, Frank can't erase me from his books.
Yeah.
I'm written about all his books. And I appreciate that. Frank, if you're watching, I really appreciate you writing about me. And We had great times together. Anyway, so one day I'm in Tunica and it's after class. And it's maybe like on a Tuesday. Our class ends on Sunday, right? So I'm in Tunica and I meet my friend Dennis. And he's doing a Yuri toss. I said, Dennis, can you show me how to do that? I forgot how to do it. I haven't used it in a couple of years. So he stands a 3V set on a 14-foot table. I think it was at the Hollywood Casino in Tunica. He sets it and throws it from straight out. Boom! The dice land exactly how he said it on a hard 6. I said, oh crap, this is such a great toss. Why am I not using it? So that got me back into it. And now I use it all the time and I teach it. And I'm still friends with Dennis. Unfortunately, Jim White, who used it a lot too, he passed away, and so did his wife. But Dennis is the last of the Mohicans of the guys that taught it to me, and Dennis is still around, and I play with him in Biloxi. And he's great. He is so great with this toss. I was playing with him in one of the casinos, and he's doing his toss, but now he's older. He's like 80 years old. So he's doing his toss, and now he's not doing it from straight out. He's doing it from stick left. Yeah, stick left. And he's so good with this toss that he's on a roll. He's rolling. And he got up to around roll number, I guess about number 50. And the pit boss says, I don't like where you're landing the dice. But he was landing in the same spot every time, hitting the wall. So he says to me, watch this, Howard. Bet the hard 4. Changes the set. Boom, hard 4. So I'm gonna fix these guys.
Wow.
Boom, another hard 4. Another hard 4. And they come around. You're done today. Give us the dice.
What?
Yeah. They took the dice away from him. That's how good he is with this toss.
Wow.
So that really encouraged me. I better practice this toss more also, because it really works great. Now I teach it to my students. Yeah.
Wow. So you guys gonna see all his tosses, a couple tosses, so at least you can relate. But again, Howard, everybody wants to see us practice.
Sure.
But how can we get in touch with you?
Well, okay, there's a few ways. You could call me on the phone. I'll always pick up. But no phony phone calls, please. Yeah. It's 954-599-8648. Okay, it's my cell phone. The other way is you could write to me, you can send me an email, and it's spelled HOWARD, ROCK, the letter N, ROLLER, @gmail.com. HowardRockandRoller@gmail.com. You can write to me, I'll always answer you back. Some people send me text messages, and some people private message me also. But sometimes, I'm an older guy, so I'm not really into tech. So sometimes on my phone I'll see emails, and then I'll see text messages, and then I'll see private messages, and sometimes I forget. I forget to look.
Yeah.
So email is probably the best way because it stays there right in front of me, But I do my best to keep in touch with everybody, and that's the best way to contact me. Send me an email or to give me a call, and I'll be happy to talk to you and tell you about my classes. My prices are on my website, which is howardrockandroller.com. I have all my prices there and stories about me, and a little bio in there too, and some videos, and has all the information there. And also have a wonderful Facebook group, which is growing like crazy.
Yes.
We're almost up to 2,000 people. It's called Howard Rock and Roller. It's everything's Howard Rock and Roller, but this is Howard Rock and Roller's Craps Group. I have and that's on Facebook. But make sure it's the Craps Group, Howard Rock and Roller's Craps Group, and it's free. And I'll let you write in, if you want to be on there, and feel free to post.
Yep.
And I do a diary almost every day of what who I taught and what I did and how I did in the casinos where I played. I do a daily journal pretty much on my website of my activities.
Right.
And also list where I'm going to be, you know, when I'm going to be back in town and everything. Yeah.
Yep. So get all the information. We'll put it on the description as well, because he has a packed year. But I'm sure there's a few opening spots in there, so get to Howard as soon as possible, and you won't be disappointed, because Chef Dice is going to be ready for the crap spit.
Right.
Because Howard's going to fix me up.
Yeah.
So, hey guys, thank you for watching this part of the segment, because we're going to hit the tables right now. So Howard, thank you very much. Appreciate you.
My pleasure.
And please fix me up.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
Right.
I'll teach you everything you need to know.
Right.
To beat the casinos.
Aloha, guys.
Aloha.